Yo, yo, what it do? It's your boy Matt. Come back to my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to kids who killed own family. Reacting to life sentences. And that's crazy. Little kids getting life sentences? That's nuts.
Family issues are common, but usually not ones that reach the point of murder. But killers like Sierra Halseth and Aaron Guerrero don't make that distinction. In Las Vegas, Nevada, the name Sin City has never been more accurate. Halseth and Guerrero, both teenagers, were in a relationship disapproved of by Halseth's father. Instead of trying to come to an agreement or even rebelling against her father, Sierra Halseth, with the help of her boyfriend, brutally murdered her own father.
Damn, so
and his
both of
body
them?
was found on April the 9th, 2021. The body was found in a sleeping bag.
Bro, how? I don't get it. So she killed her father because he disapproved of her boyfriend? That's
With 70 stab wounds. But that's not even the worst part. Apparently, they tried to dismember the body with saws and set it on fire before they left it in the garage.
No,
What
these
could
people are
drive
real
two
life
kids
psychos,
to commit
bro.
such a horrific act? In court, Sierra dropped a
That's
bombshell
crazy.
despite her completely lifeless expression. She read a letter painting Daniel as an abuser, an addict, and pedophile, with his harassment supposedly leading to his demise. Whether or not Sierra was on the wrong end of this abuse, she clearly suffered some disturbing change, as she recorded a video days after the murder with her accomplice boyfriend, laughing and gloating about the murder in a deeply unsettling way.
After murdering, day 3 after murdering somebody.
Wow! Don't put that on the camera.
It was worth it.
That's crazy.
Regardless of their motives, justice was served for their crime, as they
Where is
received
it?
life in prison with a
Worth
possibility
it,
of
but you
parole
got life in
after
prison.
22 years.
So was it actually
You're
worth
going to be
it?
sentenced to 48 to 120 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. On count 2, you're going to be sentenced to life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole after 20 years has been served, plus a consecutive.
Man, looks like you wanna start crying.
Nevada Department of Corrections for the deadly weapon enhancement.
And while Halseth may have had some twisted motive, Nehemia Griego's murder spree was on another level. In New Mexico, 10 years ago, 15-year-old Nehemia Griego went on an utter rampage in his own home with an AR-15 and a .22 caliber rifle, as he suddenly shot and killed his 40-year-old mother, his 9-year-old brother, his 2 sisters aged 5 and 2, and patiently waited among the dead bodies for his father to arrive so that he could murder him as well.
Bro, this man killed everybody. The hell? Why he do something like that?
Griego left
That's
a horrific
crazy.
bloodbath at home as he drove to church, and the pastor informed the authorities. Shockingly, no motive whatsoever was found, other than Griego being suicidal and frustrated with his mother. But
They
that would in
drove
no
to
way
church?
explain how he murdered his entire family, even children. After pleading guilty, he was tried twice, once as a juvenile and once as an adult. During his adult hearing, though, Griego turned heads when he suddenly felt remorse facing those in his family who survived his rampage, apologizing to them and expressing his guilt.
I am sorry for taking our parents and our sins. You know, I wish I could take it back, but reality is that we can't.
But it wasn't enough for his sister, who broke down crying. Griego couldn't
That's
even get the sympathy of the district attorney, who seems to be haunted by this case.
As a homicide detective, I'd seen many death scenes, but this is the one I get to relive every day.
He ultimately received a life sentence, plus 7 years to run concurrently, with the possibility of parole at the age of 52. Speaking of unspeakable murderers of children, Dylan Schumacher also gets zero sympathy. Dylan Schumacher tried to make rounds in court when he broke down crying.
But this man,
His acting skills were as bad as his consciousness. In Springville, Utah, 16-year-old Schumacher was babysitting his girlfriend's 2 children when he couldn't do the basic human task of calming down a crying 2-year-old. So, he disgustingly decided to cover his head with a pillow and
bro, this man killed his girlfriend's babies. Bro, that's insane.
strike him to make him silent, but unsurprisingly, the damage the child received took his life. While Schumacher was clearly abusive, the prosecution and defense were at odds with a second-degree manslaughter or second-degree murder charge.
Austin Smith was completely defenseless. That's a given. But there were other dynamics at work there, including my client's inability to either control his anger or frustration.
Bro, I don't get how these lawyers could defend people like this, bro. And then with a straight face. That's crazy. Sometimes I feel like these lawyers are crazier than the ones actually commit the act.
And his inexperience in babysitting.
What is to say he won't do this again?
Well, we don't know that. I think it's completely unlikely.
But fairness is not
Lock
lost in the world.
him up.
Schumacher was tried with the intention to kill and first-degree assault until he tried to put on a sympathy act in court.
I didn't mean to kill Austin. Ashley, I really didn't. I really think I did that. I didn't mean to hurt him.
Dylan broke down to his
This man said, "Do you really think I did this? I mean, you're there because you did it, buddy." That simple.
girlfriend, claiming that he
Brave.
loved her son. But he was quickly exposed when a video came out of him saying,
I am a 16-year-old blonde. Probably all I have to do is cry in front of the jury, and they're going to feel sorry for me.
the act couldn't fool the judge or
Damn.
jury.
That's tough. Now, why would you say something like that? And then they say white privilege don't exist.
And Schumacher received 18 years to life with a possibility of parole in 2031. These apologies in court barely stir up any sympathy for the murderers, just like Tyler Hadley. In Port St. Lucie, Florida, 17-year-old Tyler Hadley thought out an entire murder plot straight out of a movie. He first invited a bunch of people over for a party, but they didn't know that this would be a party from hell when Hadley took 3 ecstasy pills and murdered his own mother and father, Mary Jo
Bro,
and Blake
what?
Hadley, with a claw hammer. During the party, the dead bodies could be smelled, and it was an extremely disturbing and tense time for
Bro,
Michael
that's
Mandel,
crazy.
to whom Tyler confessed the crime, until Mandel could leave the party and report the horrible crime. As far as motive went, this went far back to Tyler having major problems with drugs, as well as prior convictions for
He was a
arson,
druggie?
vandalism, theft, battery, and injuring a child with his father's car, which apparently he used to steal without permission. But the last straw was his parents attempting to get him help for his drug problem. So he reacted by taking their lives and cementing his
So your parents try to help you and you take their life for trying to help you out. Boy, these kids be ungrateful as hell, bro.
irredeemable nature.
They should have
During his
just kicked
trial,
his ass
the
out
state
the house.
really wanted to give the death penalty, but couldn't for his age. So he was granted a life sentence that was reconsidered in 2016, but reapplied again in 2018.
I can apologize and make amends for the horrible acts I've done and I committed.
This came after Hadley's brother spoke out in court.
Well, I guess what I want is for him to get the maximum penalty possible, which
Exactly.
I understand is life in prison without parole.
Other family members who faced
Let him
trial
rot
in
in
court
there.
included his mother's niece.
We pray that sometime in the future he will have the opportunity to rehabilitate and have a life on the outside.
Tyler had the nerve to speak out in court and apologize for his actions. His apology was undermined by his brother, literally asking for him to get the highest sentence possible. Disconnect from reality can also lead to disastrous horror, such as what happened with Daniel Patrick. A 16-year-old Daniel couldn't tell fact from video games when he became obsessed with video games after a skiing accident that left him with spinal injuries and too much time to spend playing games. After a disagreement with his parents over wanting to get the video game Halo, Patrick horrifically imitated the game to a disastrous degree when he stole his father's handgun from a safe and shot
Bro, this man killed his parents because of Halo? Bro, what?
both his mum and his dad. While his dad survived, his mum passed away from her injuries. After fleeing the crime scene in a van, Daniel was caught by the police. Things changed dramatically in court for both Daniel and his father, who showed genuine emotion and regret in court. Daniel could be seen crying, and his dad seemed to have forgiven him, even defending his son.
I can't count the number of times he has told me that he is so sorry for what he did, and he'll never be able to forgive me.
Man, let that man rot in jail. Talking about sorry. Get the hell out of here.
I can also count the number of times he has told me that he is so happy that I survived, and so glad to still be able to see me.
With the defense and psychiatrists arguing that Daniel couldn't distinguish reality from video game fiction, Daniel could not receive the death penalty.
This is not the case of a drug fiend stash being taken away. Daniel chose, in the words of his father, he referred to him in his interview as a pathological liar. Daniel has serious problems telling the truth.
Regardless of addiction or disconnect, Daniel received life in prison with a possibility of parole after 23 years. This goes to show that forgiveness cannot stand against justice. While some argue that video games lead to violence, childhood trauma is definitely way worse, leading to cases like Seth Pravaki. After being neglected by his parents, who apparently had nothing nice to say about him, Seth Pravaki went on a rabbit hole of drugs and stealing that culminated in a brutal killing spree when he was only 18 years old in Muskegon, Michigan in November the 29th, 1998. Pravaki would shoot both his parents, his brother, his grandfather, and his brother's girlfriend. While the authorities could not point toward a specific motive, it was clear that a lack of love led him down this path, all the way to the courtroom, where he gave an apology that's impossible to deem genuine or not.
I'm sorry for what I did, but that's hardly enough.
Seth received life in prison without parole in 1999. But then the story got 10 times crazier a decade later, when in prison, 3 men, including Pravaki, took control of a tractor-trailer and drove right through the prison fence. After the guards fired, one bullet struck Pravaki straight in the head, killing him.
You think of irony, karma, you know, what you sow, so shall you reap.
Whether it was karma or a sad tale of an unloved boy, that's up to you. More often than not, it's mental illness that leads to horrific crimes like these, such as with Jake Evans. In a Parker County, Texas mansion, 17-year-old Jake Evans one day snapped, grabbed a .22 caliber pistol, and shot his mother and young sister on a complete whim. He immediately called 911, and the call was both horrifying and saddening, as Evans is clearly suffering from severe issues.
Why did he shoot him?
Where's your emergency?
My house.
Okay, what's the emergency?
I just killed my mom and my sister.
You just killed your mother and your sister? How did you do that?
I shot him with a .22 revolver.
Are you sure they're dead?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to stay on the phone with me, okay? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Where is the gun?
It's on the kitchen counter.
According to the call, he'd been planning to kill for quite some time, and apparently was planning on killing his other sisters and grandparents, taking inspiration from Rob Zombie's Halloween movie, and a general disconnect with human nature.
Bro, what's wrong with
these people? Is there any reason that you were so angry at your
real-life psycho.
sister?
I don't know. I wasn't. It's weird. I wasn't even really angry with them. It just kind of happened. I've been kind of planning on killing for a while now.
The two of them, or just anybody?
Bro, this man needs some serious help. This man, God, what is wrong with this
Pretty much anybody.
Why?
I don't know. I don't really like people's kind of attitude.
Right.
I think they're very like, you know, emotional, I don't know, verbally rude to each other and stuff like that.
Right.
In court, it was an odd sight, as Evans looked no older than the adolescent he was supposed to be, pleading guilty for his crime. Although controversy was stirred regarding how much prison time he should and should not be getting, he was ultimately charged with capital murder and given 45 years with a chance of parole at half his sentence. This one doesn't feel very satisfying, as this young man clearly needed psychiatric help rather than an
serious help.
Speaking of somewhat unfair rulings for those who are ill,
Orange
there
jumpsuit
was a
and
lot
help.
of sympathy for Jacob Morgan, whose status as a killer is indefinite question. In South Carolina, 17-year-old Jacob Morgan was in charge of taking care of his 14-month-old baby brother, Joshua, when a
He
fire
killed the
broke out
brother.
accidentally that was seemingly started by Morgan, who changed his statements from throwing a pillow near a heater to lighting the pillow on fire. Regardless of how
So
it
it wasn't
happened,
an
Morgan
accident.
was unable to do anything as baby Joshua tragically passed away in the flames. In court, Morgan was in shock and tears at what had transpired, and the hidden truth was that he was on the autism spectrum with a fascination with fire, which caused him to start this fire and another one 2 weeks prior.
A burn pattern that goes from underneath that child towards the door of the bedroom. That is caused by likely something. It's a significant burn pattern as he described it. It could have been alcohol, it could have been something else that gets consumed by the fire. But a significant burn pattern shows that there is something said significant and intentional.
Because of these conditions, Morgan was not charged with murder, but involuntary manslaughter, with a 10-year sentence to run
I mean, I get it though. He ain't really mean to kill his brother, you feel me? But it's still a sad case.
consecutively with a 15-year sentence and 5 years of probation for arson.
I believe the state has, in fact, met the burden, so therefore I am going to find that there is probable cause to charge the individual with the Hanover Court General Sessions Court for both charges.
That's crazy.
Upon hearing his sentencing, Morgan's expression was still saddening.
No necesitas.
Right, y'all. Let me know what y'all thought about that. That's insane. Some real life psychos out in this world, man. Right, y'all. Gotta like, comment, subscribe. We're out of here.